going live now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is a call to order of the first regular meeting for the month of June 2020 of the Bridgeport Board of Education. Today is Monday, June 8th, 2020, and the time is noted as being 6:36 p.m. We're going to have Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Testani, would you deploy the flag?
Yeah, I'm finding it now. No.
Yeah.
Here we go. 1 second. There we go.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're going to have the roll call now. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll? Ms. Brown, are you there? Are you? You might be muted.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
It's okay.
Sorry. Miss Allen,
Here.
Mr. Weldon,
Here?
Mr. Taylor, Miss Martinez, Mr. Sokolovic,
Present.
Mr. Lombard,
Here.
Bobby Brown, present. Did I miss anyone?
Albert Benahan.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Albert. Okay, I
And
believe
did you get
that's
Illingworth? You get Dan Illingworth?
Mr. Illingworth?
Mr. Ellingsworth.
Okay.
Okay, that's everyone.
Okay. So we have 5 people here. We just make a quorum. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the May 26, 2020 regular public meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Allen. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lombard. Is there any discussion? I'll just go down the list to keep it orderly. Ms. Allen, do you have anything to say about the minutes from the last meeting?
No.
Okay. Ms. Brown, do you have anything to say?
No.
Mr. Lombard?
No.
Mr. Skolowik?
No, sir.
Okay. So all in favor of approving the May 26, 2020 minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? I'm going to dispense with the chairman's report. I don't have anything substantive to add to the meeting here. We'll move on to committee reports. First up is facilities. Mr. Illingworth is not here, but are there any referrals to the facilities committee? Okay. Finance committee, Mr. Skolowik.
The finance meeting did not meet in the interim since our last meeting, but the next meeting will be held Wednesday, June 10th at 6:30 p.m. virtually.
Okay. Any referrals? Governance committee. Mr. Illingworth is not here, but I'm a member of governance, so I'll just report. The 1000 series was discussed with council. Council is currently reviewing the policies, that policy series, to make sure it's up to par in terms of its statutory references. I don't know off the top of my head when governance is going to meet again, but it's my understanding that there's a couple of other policy series that either have been or will be sent over to council for, again, his once over. I'm going to note for the record, it appears Mr. Albert Benahan has entered the meeting. So, any referrals for governance? Okay, teaching and learning.
Teaching and learning also did not meet in the interim. Next meeting tentatively on conferring with my committee members. It'll be Tuesday, June 16th, and the time to be determined.
Any referrals? Personnel Committee met, I want to say last week, early part of last week. We interviewed some candidates for various principalships, and recommendation was made to the superintendent. We will be meeting again sometime in the next week or two to interview a series of candidates for various assistant principalships, and I'll be reaching out to the committee members to try to schedule it. We may break it out into 2 or 3 meetings because the total number of candidates is somewhere in the magnitude of 11 or 12. So, are there any referrals for personnel? Okay, students and families. Mr. Benahan, anything to report?
Good afternoon, everyone. How did everyone go? Thank you, Mr. Chair. Student family, we had the report. We talk about how much money we talk about each school, how much they got left. I'm very glad that all PAC leaders of each school very spend the money the way it's supposed to be. And I'm very glad. I know it was the last moment and a rush. We talk about bullying. Mr. Young, they did an amazing report. We're going to be following that report. I hope when we come back, before that, how we going to be working together with Mr. Testani and the team to be sure we're not going to keep having bullying in our Bristol school. You know, we try to see how we can bring another more policy or law or something coming from Hartford, working with Mr. Testani to be sure parents understand not only have the kid have consequence, parents have to have consequence. We need to stop this bullying thing. But after that, everything is fine. Everything in the report, everything was good.
Okay. Are there any referrals for students and families? Okay. Contracts committee will be meeting this week to address a couple of minor contract related items. One is related to provision in Mr. Testani's contract related to his usage of vacation days. The other is an RFP for special education services, Mr. Testani.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll be meeting this week. I don't anticipate them to be very involved discussions, and we'll be able to get through them in order to be able to bring them to the full board at our next regular meeting. Are there any referrals for contracts? Ad hoc committee, Great City Schools, males of color, Mr. Skolovich.
Yes, we did have a meeting in the interim on last Thursday. We basically discussed the white paper. We got an updated version, and it should be completed before the next regular meeting for presentation. And the next meeting should be sometime in late June.
Okay, is that it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So next up is the superintendent's report, and as we've been doing the last several times, it's 2-part. One is his general operational report, and it'll be followed by a public Q&A regarding district operations. But hang on, I believe before we go any further, we neglected to do public comment. So I apologize for that. Mr. Postolowski, just prior to this meeting, you indicated there were about 4 people who were signed up.
That is correct. Yes, we have 4 people queued up when you're ready to bring them on. So just
fine.
let us know. Okay.
Go ahead. We'll do that now.
Okay. Just one moment.
Okay.
Hello, this is going to be Marge Hiller for the first public comment.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. This is Marge Hiller. Thank you for letting us speak tonight. There are going to be a number of people signed up to speak about their experience with the School Volunteer Association. They are here to reiterate just how important this organization is to all the children and teachers in our schools.
Ms. Hiller, we can't hear you.
Her audio
Mentoring
is-
and tutoring.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay, I'll start again. There are a number of people signed up. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
All right, there are a number of people signed up to speak tonight regarding their experience with the School Volunteer Association. They are here to reiterate just how important this organization is to all the children and teachers in our schools. Mentoring and tutoring from experienced and trained volunteers help to stabilize students. Even during this time when distance learning is the new education norm for our students, mentors continue to interact in a safe and secure setting with their students. Several weekly readers continue reading and posting their stories so that their classrooms can still see them and enjoy the stories. The SVA office is developing a very comprehensive plan for re-engaging volunteers when school resumes in the fall. Partnerships have been formed with Fairfield University and Urban Impact and others to explore distance tutoring, mentoring, and reading enrichment. The School Volunteer Office is working with administrators to develop a plan that will work for volunteers, teachers, and students. We recognize that the opening of schools will be a different model, and we recognize that volunteers won't be going into the schools to continue the hands-on work we've been doing for so many years. All the volunteers miss seeing the students, and the teachers tell us that they and their students miss their readers, tutors, and mentors that they see every week. There are so many opportunities for the SVA volunteers to be actively involved. Many are familiar with Microsoft Team Platform, and many more are ready to learn how to use it better. But without a restored budget, all these essential direct services disappear. During these difficult times, does it make any sense at all to lose over $1 million of essential services for the small amount of the school volunteer budget, which is less than 0.1% of the total school budget? This is not the time to shortchange students of the Bridgeport Public Schools. The hundreds of SVA volunteers want to be part of the solution. Please let that happen, and please restore the school volunteer budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Hiller.
The next person will be on in just one moment.
We now have DJ Maxwell.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to speak tonight. My name is DJ Maxwell, and I am the Library Media Specialist at Madison School. I'm here tonight to advocate for the School Volunteer Association and for the SVA to be added back into the budget. The programs they offer gives our students an enormous amount of support. I first met Ann Gribben and Joyce Goodwin about 8 years ago when I began in Bridgeport as a volunteer with the SVA as a mentor, a reader, and a book buddy.
You can advocate.
I volunteered at Burnham, Waltersville, Roosevelt, and Beardsley. And this fantastic experience inspired me to return to grad school so that I could have a career in education. And in the fall, I will be beginning my third year at Madison, doing the best job in the world, I believe. But I'm also going to have the pleasure of coordinating the mentor program for our school. So it's come full circle for me, and I see the positive impact that the mentors have through the students' eyes as they bring their mentors into the library space to either share lunch or play a game or show them their favorite books, or just have a conversation with someone that's just totally focused on them. And in the mornings, they will remind me, remember, Miss Maxwell, my mentor comes today. I'll be seeing you later in the library. Also, I'm very much involved in the district ruler program, and I am a member of my school's SEL committee. And I can say with complete certainty that the mentors help improve the social and emotional needs of our students. So the program is very, very needed. I encourage you to add the SBA back into the budget. And thank you for your time, and have a good evening.
Hey, thank you, ma'am.
One moment, we're just getting the other person on.
Hi, yes. We have S. Bungu.
Hi, I can talk now?
Yes.
You're all set.
Okay, so I'm going to make this quick because I know it's only 2 minutes, but just some of the things that the School Volunteer Association does for our community. They've donated thousands of books. They've donated educational supplies like crazy art this year, markers, crayons, colored pencils for each student in the class, glue. I also have enough for next year. They also donated educational supplies from Really Good Stuff, furniture, books, flashcards, crayons, workbooks, math supplies. Authors come and visit my classroom all the time. They donated book signs. They do Read Aloud Day every October. We have a business partnership that was created through the School Volunteer Association. We also have mentors that visit the students once a week. They also go on a field trip at the end of the year. T-shirts and certificates are given to all the students in the mentor program. There's book buddies that adults sit with the students one-on-one, 15 minutes while reading and helping them to read. So they've donated supplies to help our children continue their studies, acquire knowledge and culture. And in addition, when children have access to education, their chances of going to college in the future are greater, and that can lead them to success as skilled professionals in the job market. And as simple as it is, it reminds our children that people that do not know them care. And that's what our kids need to be reminded of. Just today during a daily meeting I have with the students, I asked one of the students if she was reading, and she said yes. She shared which book. And I said, who's the author? The author is actually a volunteer that was introduced to us by School Volunteer Association. She made a comment that that book and the author that came to our class has helped her enjoy reading, because before this, she didn't like to read. So we need the School Volunteer Association, and it also teaches our kids that it's important to do good and good will follow. My 2 minutes up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, we have Claudia Gillespie.
Okay.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Claudia Gillespie. I'm a second grade bilingual teacher at Luis Munoz Marin. I've been working there for 15 years, and the program for our children has been wonderful. The School Volunteer Association has been nothing but a blessing to the children and to the teachers. We have gotten donations and materials for the classrooms They don't just provide materials donated by their organization, but they also go out and beyond and do it 2 or 3 times a year. And we can go and get our supplies, whatever we need. And if I need books, and if I call Mrs. Goodwin, she will find a way of getting the materials I need. And remember, teachers spend a lot of their money, and this is wonderful when you need something, especially when you have a special project. And I got to tell you that the positive impact that it leaves on our kids is tremendous. And like I told you, I'm a bilingual teacher, so my kids mostly speak Spanish first. And these kids are making great connections. Like I have Mr. Vance coming into our classroom every month, and the children just behave so well. They love him, and he's very interactive with them. And he doesn't speak a word of Spanish, but the children make that connection, and they need that. They need to see that it's not just Mrs. Gillespie out there and the regular teachers that care for them, but it's also these people who take their time of their day and come in and spend time with our kids. These are unbelievable, unbelievable connections. And the last thing I want to say was, I got to tell you that with all the things we've got to stop cutting the things that we need the most, that the children are impacted directly. I mean, books, materials, and the people that taking their time to spend with them. It's just wonderful, and I would hate to lose this. I really would. Thank you for listening to me. Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I believe that's all the people that signed up. Is that right, Mr. Postolowski?
Yep, that's correct. That has finished public comment, and there is no other people that signed up for public comment during Mr. Testani's section in a moment.
Okay. All right, so we're going to move on to the superintendent's report. First part is the general report. Mr. Testani.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not much in terms of updates from our last meeting, just a few items. We have put on our website a number of resources, and we continue to add as school closure has continued. Mr. Postolowski and his team have really helped reorganize and restructure our website so it's easy to navigate through. So there's a lot of information regarding distance learning, additional resources that parents and students can take advantage of, not only now during the school year, but also during the summer months to keep their children busy and learning throughout the summer. So we will be conducting all our summer programs virtually this summer. We will begin registration the week of June 15th for high school credit recovery. And Dr. Jenkins and her team are working with principals to identify students for our early reading success program as our special ed department begins to plan our ESY summer program as well. We do have all the graduation dates up on the website. I encourage everyone to take a look. I believe many of you have received invitations and notifications, but just to reiterate, Bridgeport Adult Education will hold its graduation June 29th at 6 p.m. at Central High School. I'm just making note of that so there's not any committee meetings or board meetings scheduled for that evening at 6 p.m. Elementary, middle schools, everyone should just contact their parents should contact, or anyone should contact the school principals for that information. They're varying. Today began pre-K and graduations and everything up at Skane, so we're in full swing. Our high school graduations will begin. Bassick High School will kick it off on June 18th at 8:30 in the morning at Bassick. Bridgeport Military Academy on June 19th. Harding High School will be June 19th as well. Military Academy at 9 a.m., Harding at 12:30. Central High School will be split into 3, the 22nd of June, 23rd, and 24th, all beginning at 9:30. And on the 25th, Fairchild Wheeler at 1 p.m. Just want to update everyone because I did get some phone calls today. The governor's order has allowed graduations up to 150 individuals outdoors. That includes the graduates. So I think it's important to note that if we were going to try to do this in July, for example, Central High School, Fairchild Wheeler, with 2 guests would be 7 days each school. roughly to get through them. So this is something I think people need to be aware of, that it's not 150 graduates where we can split it up maybe into 2 sessions. That's 150 total graduates, spectators, staff. So we will proceed as we planned with our drive-through graduations. Our video montage is being put together for all our schools, and lawn signs, again, for all our Bridgeport Public School graduates, either have begun to be distributed or will begin in the next couple of days. All our schools I know are either have received them or receiving them. So just a nice thing we've done for our graduates. Unfortunately, as we all know, we'd love to have everyone together. And hopefully, you know, maybe we can do some sort of celebration later in the summer. If anyone from any of the students do want to participate, I'm not holding out that we can't get everyone together for some sort of informal celebration. So we'll keep that updated. And last day of school is June 17th. So we have begun at the schools to set up collection of devices that were loaned out and pickup of personal belongings. I mentioned that, I believe, at the last meeting. And I continue to mention that on Friday mornings during Facebook Live sessions that we've been doing weekly. Been a good turnout and participation from parents and students to get information, ask questions. So if you're available Friday mornings at 9:30, the Bridgeport Public Schools website, I do a Facebook Live, and it seems to be working really well. The outpour of encouragement to continue this, even when school reopens, has been positive. So it's something I think that the public's finding very informative and also very helpful to try to navigate through this very difficult time. We have begun our reopening 2020 fall task force. Committees have begun to meet. I'm hoping to get some reports from committee co-chairs in the next week or two, so we may have an update for the entire board at that time. That's pretty much it. I don't think there's been many changes other than that. Again, I do want parents and folks to really reach out to the website. We have put a lot of good information out there. It's very informative. We've maneuvered some of the things around on the website to make it more user-friendly. And I think it's definitely been very helpful to put out good information. We are closing the parent survey. The first parent survey will close tomorrow. So anyone who has not, any parents that have not gone on and completed the first survey, there will be another one in a couple of weeks. Once the committees start to meet from the task force and give me an idea of what they feel should be some questions that we should be surveying parents. So if parents have not done that already on the first survey, they have an opportunity. Tomorrow we will close that out at noon.
Okay. So we're going to segue into the Q&A regarding district operations during COVID-19. Mr. Postolowski indicates there's no members of the public who have dialed in for the question. Is that still true? Mr. Postolowski?
Yep, sorry, I was unmuting. I apologize.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
there is nobody that has done for that section, correct?
Okay, then I'll open it up to board members. I'll just go down the list. If anyone has a question, they can ask. Ms. Allen, do you have any questions for Mr. Testani?
None just now.
Okay. Mr. Banahan, any questions?
Yes, I have a question for Mr. Testani. Mr. Testani, about when you said pick up the advisors, and the personal stuff in the school, do you have the list exactly what parents or what students had the thing belong to the school, or you already send a phone calls or email, something like that, so you can know how many advisors, stuff like that is outside?
Yeah, that's each school kept track of how they distributed and to whom. So they are responsible to recover the devices from the parents that they gave out. Some may be utilizing them over the summer if they are participating in summer school. And if not, they must return them by a certain date.
All right, thank you. That's it, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Ms. Brown, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Mr. Lombard, any questions?
No questions.
Mrs. Colvin, any questions?
Yeah, I'd just like to back up a little bit. It's right at the end of your report. I guess it's actually COVID related as well. You said there's going to be reports submitted to you. I think I sat in on a few different of the reopening committee meetings, not as just to hear, and it seems like a theme running through some of them is our work is dependent upon what the other committees are doing. So I think it might behoove us to have a general meeting where we all get together to find out what page everybody's on, so we can frame our work a little more tighter, depending upon where everybody else on the other committees are.
Yeah, there will be periodically where everyone gets together. I think it's important, though, that the committees do meet and start to brainstorm and gather information. And once some of those reports are given to me, I can kind of see where I need to guide the agendas for the general meeting. I mean, having over 30 people participate in a general meeting without any real direction, I think would be quite chaotic. So, you know, I mean, once we get some focus, I think everyone can start to begin to focus, and I'm trying to provide some guidance as I get it from the State Department of Ed on what models are starting to develop. This morning we had a meeting, and it's becoming evident that the governor is adamant about a few items, especially with our youngest learners, which I think is critically important. But some of us were advocating for the fact that maybe there should be some minimum requirements, and that if districts want to provide more, that we should have the option to provide more if we have the opportunity to do so. But I understand your point. There will be a general meeting for next week set up, and I'm hoping that everybody gets their first or maybe even their second meeting in, and to get some sort of written report where we can kind of I can craft an agenda to try to clarify and point people more in a focused direction. But thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So the next item is old business, of which there is none to be transacted. 10, new business. 10A, discussion and possible action concerning E-rate contracts. So, Mr. Postolowski, I believe this is your agenda item. You submitted quite a few pieces of material in preparation for this, and some of it was quite voluminous, and I didn't think really explained a whole lot to us rank and file layfolk. But I did keep the item from the SCC that describes what the E-rate is, and I believe the item from Kellogg and Sovereign is here. No, it's not. Okay, so I'm just going to let you kind of describe what it is that you're going to need from us, and I believe there's a very specific motion. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. So what we do every year at this time of the year for those board members that were part of this last year and in previous years, what we have to do is put forward as part of Bridgeport Public Schools and the Board of Education our official submission for the ratification of our filing for what's known as our Form 471. And that form basically is telling the USAC program, or the governmental program that provides pretty much the lion's share of all of our funding for all of our internet services, Wi-Fi services, pretty much all of our fiber, all of our connectivity. We are what's known as a 90% district, and that's what's known as Category 1. And then Category 2 is what funds and pays for our equipment having to do with the infrastructure that runs all of that. So what we're looking for is the approval of this, submission that we do every year so that we can basically complete that submission. If there are any questions about the E-rate program or what we do, Rachel Botts, who is our E-rate consultant, is on the line if you have any questions. But this is typically, a situation where, this is put forward for approval. And Rachel, if you want to give the exact motion to Mr. Weldon so that we have the exact wording for the record.
I can attempt to do that.
Okay.
Just in case there's any question as to what the E-rate program is. I know that you've got some new folks on board. So E-rate is very quickly what I describe as a coupon program from the FCC. So there's a small charge on the end of telecommunications bill, feeds a huge pot of money. And as a part of that money, there's a set aside for schools and libraries to access discounts on bringing internet into their campus, connecting it between their buildings, and the backbone that resides in the walls. So all of the wires, all of the access points, all the stuff that you have to buy anyway. It's not asking you to buy anything different. It's giving you a discount on what you have to do anyway. And so yes, because of your CEP involvement with the school lunch program, you are a 90% district. So for all of the services coming into your campuses and the services that connect your campuses, you get 90% discount. And for all of the internal connections hardware, you get an 85% discount. And so generally, because of your size and the amount of your spending, most school districts of your size look for a resolution from the board that authorizes the accepting of any funding that you're awarded and authorizes the payment of your share of the purchases.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
No, I don't have no question, Mr. Chair.
Okay, just go down the list. Ms. Allen, do you have any questions?
No, I read it quite carefully, so I don't really have any questions. And she explained a little more. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Brown, any questions?
No.
Okay. Mr. Lombard, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Ms. Skolovic, any questions?
No, sir. Light night.
Okay. I'm still looking for the. Here we go. I just found it. There is a very specific motion that needs to be read into the record, and
it's the one from Kellogg and Sovereign, that paper,
yeah,
Mr. Weldon.
I just pulled up the email. It's
okay.
Yes, yeah, so different.
You remember what file it was?
It's Board Resolution 2021. Do you have that?
And if it helps, Mr. Weldon, I can forward that to you again if you'd like.
If you share my screen, I can. It's up on my screen for you to read.
Oh, you just. It's up there now, actually.
Hang on. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack. Just making it easier for you.
All right. So the motion that we'd be looking for is a motion to approve the resolution. Wait a minute. No, there's.
The vote to approve resolution for schools and libraries, universal services, that line right there. Okay.
Hang on. Okay, so the resolution, I'm seeking a motion that be it resolved that the governing board for the Bridgeport School District, 1, authorizes the filing of FCC Form 471, Schools and Libraries Universal Service Program Services, Ordered and Certification Form for the services and/or products as detailed in the attached report entitled, quote, E-rate requests FY 2020 for the fiscal year of July 1st, 2020 to June 30, 2021. And 2, authorizes payment of the applicant's share under the following conditions. 1, approval of the funding of the discounted portion of the Schools and Libraries Division, SLD, of the Universal Service Administration Company, USAC. And 2, receipt of service during the fiscal year July 1, 2020 to 6/30/2021. Is there a motion to that effect?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Moved by Ms. Allen. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Kolovic. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. So,
And Mr. Weldon, when you're ready, as customary for this, we have to do the
sign
signatory.
this. Yep.
Yeah. So
can you accept do I need to physically, you need an inked signature?
No,
You don't? Okay.
no, you
So I
can do an
PDF
Adobe
it.
signature. Yep,
Okay, will do. I'll do that tonight.
thank you.
Thank you.
all right.
That is pretty much it. So, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? Moved by Ms. Allen. Is there a second?
I second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Banahan. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Okay, we are adjourned. The time is noted as being 7:18. We'll see you all again on June 22nd. In the meantime, stay safe and be well. Have a good night.
God bless you all.
Thank you.
Mr. Weldon, before you
Yes.
sign off,
Sure.
I'm just, as a Connecticut mom, a Connecticut public school mom in a different district, I just wanted to commend, I said this to Jeff the other day, your distance learning program and the way that you communicated it and put it on the website